Welcome, TBW Clips. I am Tyson. Today, RFK Jr., they're trying to take him off the ballot in New York. What is this about and why? Let's check this clip out.
RFK Jr.'s independent presidential campaign was dealt a huge setback after a judge ruled that his petition to appear on New York's ballot was invalid, all focused on an address on the paperwork. News 4's Melissa Colorado has the exclusive interview with RFK Jr. Melissa, what did he say?
Well, Rana, that ruling yesterday was a big blow.
Before we get into this, let's just put everything into context. This is NBC. We know that they're left-leaning, right? So everything can be skewed. RFK Jr. is taken off of the ballot in New York. This is to help Kamala Harris. I can pretty much guarantee it. And they say because of paperwork, he can't get on the ballot. He didn't fill out the paperwork correctly. Let's see what kind of paperwork they're talking about here.
To Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s candidacy as he fights back, filing an appeal today. He told me he's determined to win not only his case to stay on the New York ballot, but also win the presidential election. At the same time, Kennedy did not deny that he might be willing to negotiate his exit from this race.
I want to be a New Yorker. I've been a New Yorker for 60 years. My whole life is oriented around New York.
Though he moved to California a decade ago to be with his wife, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said he always planned to return to the state he calls home.
My driver's license is in New York. I pay taxes in New York. New York has always been my official domicile. I've never voted in any other state. I vote in this state. My car is registered in New York.
But Monday, a judge found the residence Kennedy listed on his ballot petition, a room in this Katona house where he slept just once and had no lease, was a sham designed to further Kennedy's candidacy.
What is?
See, the reason why I started this this review talking about how NBC is a Democrat media. They lean to the left. They lean Democrat. We know 90% of the media, probably more, are Democrats. They lean to the left. Just how they worded that. You see, just how they worded that about RFK Jr. His residency, even though that's what they said, they can combat that because that makes no sense. So they're taking him off the ballot because his paperwork says that he's from New York. That's what I would assume. And because his house, he did not reside at a house in New York, the place that he did list. He really didn't live there. That should not matter at all because just like he said, he votes in New York. His driver's license is in New York. He's a New York City resident. Now, if you move from a different state and try to register to vote or register at all, you have to show proof that you live in that state. That means you have to show proof that you have a residence. You have to do all that stuff just to prove, just to be able to get a license, to be able to vote in that state. So when you first move to a different state, because I recently did this, you move to a different state, you just can't get a driver's license. You just can't get, you just can't start voting in that state. You're not a resident there until you get an apartment, until you show proof that you live there. You can't register your vehicle, your car, unless you show proof that you live there. So for him to have all documents stating that he lives there, except for having an actual residence, is absolutely ridiculous to me. So they did this to take him off the ballot. Therefore, he will not take any votes away from Kamala Harris. Because they're saying now that it's kind of a tight race in New York. It's a tight race, tighter than it's ever been. So there's a possibility Trump could win New York. And with RFK Jr. in the race in New York on the ballot, then it's a stronger possibility also because everybody's not rocking with Kamala and the Democrats in New York. Let's continue.
The actual situation with 84 Croton Lake Road. Have you ever lived there or?
No, I haven't, but that is irrelevant. There is no requirement in the law that I ever had to spend even a single night there.
Kennedy's defense? His lawyer advised him to list New York because it's where he votes. He also argues the Constitution only requires presidential candidates to be 35, citizens, and born in the U.S.
That's it. And the states are not allowed to add new burdens. And you know what this, if
But
this,
is this a new burden or is this just the rules to get on the ballot and the accurate and true petitioning process?
That makes sense. Okay, if there's certain rules, but that would still go against the Constitution, though, right? If the Constitution says 35 years old, no felonies or anything like that, you should be able to run. He's been running this whole time, so he's not smart enough. His lawyers aren't smart enough to put forth the correct paperwork. Maybe he doesn't have a house or a residence in New York. I don't know what residence it says on his driver's license, but that should be the one that he goes by, I would assume. But you do have driver's license, people with driver's license who no longer live at that address. They will put down a new address. But he's still a resident of New York. Otherwise, he would not be able to have a license. He would not be able to vote. Let's continue because I talked about it already.
well, I was accurate and truthful.
The judge disagreed. At the Republican convention this summer, Kennedy met with Trump, sparking rumors he might drop out of the race and back him. After Biden dropped out, Kennedy's poll numbers dropped to 5% nationally.
Mr. Kennedy, has the Harris campaign reached out to you?
No, I've reached out to them repeatedly. They have refused to even talk to me.
Is your decision to remain in the race or not up for negotiation with either of these campaigns?
I'll talk to any candidate.
See that? They want him out the race. Now, I guess Kamala, they said that he dropped, till 5 or 6 points from 10, 11. So half of his support, I guess, went back to Kamala or not. They could be skewing the polls. We don't know. But yeah, that's what this whole thing is about. Take RFK Jr. off the ballot. That way it's just between Trump and Kamala. Because all these other people on the sides, the Green, Jill Scott, whatever, I don't know her correct name, the Green, she's with the Green Party. They take these people out, and then it clears the way for Kamala. Because they kind of blame the Green Party for Hillary Clinton's loss. But then you couple that in with RFK, you kind of looking at something similar to what happened in 2016. So they're trying to get RFK off this ballot big time.
On any side, I've met with President Trump.
Do you believe that Harris is a better candidate than Biden?
I don't know. I don't think anybody knows because to date, as far as I know, President Harris hasn't done an interview.
And recent polls show that Kennedy's presence in the race right now is hurting Trump more than it's Harris. I asked Kennedy, since he votes in New York, if he doesn't get back on the New York ballot, which one of those candidates would he vote for? But no surprise.
See that?
Rana, he declined to answer that question.
See, this is ridiculous. I wouldn't have answered it either because he's a presidential candidate. He's a presidential candidate. Why are you asking him? So this is ridiculous. They're trying to frame it as though RFK Jr. is going to be hurt more he's going to hurt Trump more if he stays in than Kamala Harris, which makes no sense. So they're trying to make it seem like they're not trying to get him out the race to clear the way for Harris, which is actually what they're doing. Because if that were true, then when Harris got into the race, RFK Jr. support should not have dropped. Unless they're saying that the people RFK was going, liberals and Republicans. And so when Harris came into play, all of those liberals who were going with RFK left and went to Harris, while the people who usually are Republicans went for RFK Jr. and they stayed. Is that what they mean? Because that would be the only thing that makes sense. And I doubt it. But I could be wrong. Let me know down in the comments if you think I am. I appreciate you guys watching and staying with me. And you guys have a great day.